And when you cry again, you tell the Sherman family, I'm sorry.
This morning, we are hearing from the family of a Louisiana man who was shot and killed back in 2016, why prosecutors say no criminal charges will be filed against the officers who shot him.
And if you're in the giving spirit this morning, the American Red Cross right here in Sarasota say they can take your help. How you can do so is straight ahead.
And why felons in Florida will now be able to vote again. We have those stories plus your spring break forecast and your first alert traffic. Good Morning Suncoast starts right now.
You're watching Good Morning Suncoast at 5.
And good morning, early risers. Midway through the week now, up to Wednesday, March 28th. I'm Ray Collins.
And I'm Stephanie Webb. Thanks for waking up and joining us this morning. Going to be another good day out there today.
We're in a nice pattern right now.
Yes, great week so far.
So good. So far, so good, John Scalzi.
Absolutely right. A little bit on the cooler side this morning than it was yesterday morning. But as we mentioned, this morning is probably the coolest of the week. And we'll start to lift our temperatures up as we progress through time. The Lakewood Ranch webcam put into motion shows very little in the way of inclement weather around. Certainly not a fog issue this morning. Air is too dry. And the wind speeds are just down just a little bit. I think as we progress through the afternoon, we're going to see tons of sunshine around. And the amount of wind that we get is going to not only be reduced a little bit in the second half of the day, but it's also going to shift to the south. And that's going to start to bring moisture back our way. So we've enjoyed some relatively low humidity days. That is about to change as we progress to the next couple of days. Titan radar quiet right now, not seeing anything there. But as I mentioned, temperatures are slightly cooler. We've got 58 degrees in Sarasota. We've got 58 in Bradenton, 59 in Parrish. And compared to 24 hours ago, it's certainly chillier out there this morning, I guess we could say. Daytime high temperatures today come in the low 80s with plenty of sunshine and no rain. Complete forecast for you in a few.
All right, talk to you soon. Thank you, John. Checking the roads, you'll see a construction project ongoing there around State Road 64 and I-75. They're building up the on and off ramps there, so be aware of that ongoing project. Northbound exit ramp, in fact, is closed right now. Northbound exit ramp is closed at 64, so you want to get off at State Road 70 if you're going northbound, and perhaps take Lockwood Ridge or 301 up toward State Road 64. Checking farther south now, you'll see a little blip there on Bee Ridge in the westbound lane around Honore. Otherwise, pretty clear. And then our final maps to the south showing no real congestion issues at this hour at 5:02.
And here's a quick traffic note. If you take Casey Key Road on any part of your commute, part of it is closed today between the street addresses of 2120 to 2110. Now that closure has to do with erosion of the shoreline right in that area. Traffic will not be allowed through that stretch because road crews actually have to stabilize the road. It is expected to be open again on Friday. Again, that is Casey Key Road.
Right now, the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office wants to hire 14 deputies to patrol 12 elementary schools. Sheriff Tom Knight says this will cost the district a little over $1 million a year. The deputies will patrol school grounds and parking lots throughout the day. They'll reportedly make about $43,000 each after certification, and they'll work 10 months a year. The program comes a little more than a month after the Broward County school shooting that killed 17 people.
Well, the marches may be over, but that movement continues to stop violence in schools and in communities. A gathering was held last night in downtown Sarasota where local groups kept the momentum going following Saturday's nationwide March for Our Lives. Now, those speakers included students, teachers, parents, and gun control activists. Each of the speakers at this school shootings, never again, one public forum, all agree on one thing. They want gun violence to stop.
There's a revolution going on. There's a whole change in thinking. And I think we have an opportunity really for the first time to get some gun laws through with real teeth.
And the kids that had died were kids my age, and that's really scary to see yourself in a situation like that could have been me. And I think afterwards it's become put on students that it's our duty to talk about this.
Another nationwide school walkout is now being planned for next month, April 20th. Well, they help millions of people around the country every year, usually after a disaster or an emergency. But today, they need your help.
Today is Red Cross Giving Day, and our Marla Spence is live from the Red Cross headquarters in Sarasota. Marla?
Good morning, guys. Yeah, if you're in a giving spirit this morning, well, Cross right here in Sarasota, they are happily accepting donations for this year's Red Cross Giving Day. Now collecting donations for families who face disasters like fires and also floods is all what today is all about. Many times when fire departments are called to a house fire or apartment fire, the Red Cross is also called immediately to assist those families during that devastating time.
The Red Cross responds to disasters every 8 minutes, and we're constantly there trying to help families, getting them back on their feet straight away.
The Red Cross often gives families a place to stay, like in a hotel. They also give them food and also clothing when they face those disasters. The Red Cross can give families between $600 to $1,000 depending on the size of the family and the extent of their damage. Coming up at 5:30, how exactly you can help the American Red Cross right here on the Suncoast. That's straight ahead. Reporting live in Sarasota, I'm Marla Spence for ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
All right, thank you, Marla. Northport police are still looking for a man who is in these surveillance photos. They say he tried to leave a Walmart with more than $700 in merchandise without paying for it. When he was confronted, he left the cart and ran from the store. If you recognize him, please call Northport Police.
Well, today in Northport, you can meet the candidates hoping to be Northport's next fire chief. A meet and greet with all those candidates will take place in the commission chambers from 5 until 7 p.m. And of course, you can get the information on this meeting, plus all of the latest events that are going around all over the Suncoast, as well as your breaking news, your first alert forecast. All you have to do, download the app, give it a swipe, head over to the App Store, search the words WWSB or My Suncoast. All right, and of course today there are some big changes that are happening right now in North Korea, including a visit to China.
Let's get more on this story.
Two powerful leaders side by side. North Korea's Kim Jong-un traveling secretly to Beijing at the invite of Chinese President Xi. According to Chinese state media, Kim told Xi he is willing to have a dialogue with the U.S., hold a summit with President Trump, and that denuclearization is possible. The visit marks Kim's first time leaving North Korea since taking power 6 years ago, and comes days after President Trump's appointment of John Bolton as National Security Advisor, who doesn't hide his distrust and called a preemptive strike on the North perfectly legitimate.
Question: how do you know that the North Korean regime is lying? Answer: their lips are moving.
The visit to North Korea's closest ally and top trading partner, an overture to soothe relations that had been icy and shore up support for talks. ABC's Bob Woodruff in Beijing.
China is a player again, and this could have a big impact on many negotiations. The question is, will this help the U.S. or North Korea?
The visit only confirmed overnight, and the White House said they see it as evidence the campaign of maximum pressure is working, a sentiment echoed by the South Korean unification minister. But just as the word of the meeting spread, the New York Times out with these satellite images that show a new nuclear reactor in use. North Korea insists it's intended to produce electricity, but the technology could also be used to make one of the main fuels for nuclear weapons.
Kim is expected to meet the South Korean president next month and is in talks to meet with President Trump in May. If that meeting happens, it will be the first ever face-to-face between a U.S. president and a North Korean leader. Serena Marshall, ABC News, Washington.
Well, today, closing arguments are expected for the woman accused of helping her husband plan a mass shooting at a nightclub in Orlando. Lawyers for Nora Salman have rested their case in her federal trial. Prosecutors told the jury that Salman knew her husband, Omar Mateen, was buying rounds of ammunition before that attack and that she knew about his plan before he left home that day. Prosecutors also claim that she lied to try and mislead FBI agents and had knowledge of her husband's fascination with violent videos and terrorism. Now, defense attorneys describe the 31-year-old mother as a simple woman with a low IQ who was abused by her husband.
A federal judge has ordered Florida's governor to create a new system to restore voting rights to convicted felons. Florida is one of just 4 states that permanently bans felons from voting again. The only way they can restore their rights is by petitioning for it. Governor Scott defended the current system and says it is outlined in the state constitution. The judge gave him until April 26 to find a new voting restoration process. 5:09 right now, still ahead. First alert traffic and changes for one insurance company. What Aetna customers could soon receive.
Plus, coming up a little later in the hour, a Sarasota woman. This woman is here. She's in jail this morning. We've got a list of all the counterfeit drugs that investigators say she was trying to sell in the area. We'll have that.
But first, a live look at Casey Key. This is the road that is going to be partially closed today until Friday due to some shoreline erosion. We'll have updates on that throughout the morning. But first, the local weather scene from John Scalzi.
Well, the commute this morning looks pretty good. We don't have any issues whatsoever with weather this morning. Rain, fog, wind, all that's not a problem. In fact, the winds will be decreasing as we progress through the day today and become rather tame as we head into the later afternoon. Mid-60s to start your morning as you head out the door, upper 70s on your return home. And all the airport hubs serving the Sarasota-Bradenton International Airport are running on time according to the FAA. Complete forecast in just a moment.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? And now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Hi, I'm Joan London with A Place for Mom. Over the years, we've helped thousands of families find senior care, and today's senior living communities have never been better, with amazing amenities like movie theaters, exercise rooms and swimming pools, public cafes, bars and bistros, even pet care services. And nobody understands your options like the advisors at A Place for Mom. These are local expert advisors that will partner with you to find the perfect place and determine the right level of care, whether that's just a helping hand or full-time memory care. Best of all, it's a free service. Call today. A Place for Mom. You know your family, we know senior living. Together, we'll make the right choice.
Call A Place for Mom right now to get our free ebook on financing senior care, as well as a free referral for senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-290-0352. That's 1-800-290-0352.
Our nation's servicemen and women show great courage and leadership, both on and off the battlefield. When they transition to civilian life, they can apply the skills and values they learned in the military to the workplace. That's why the Coalition to Salute America's Heroes is urging employers everywhere to be smart, bet on a vet. Hiring a veteran is also a great way to show your appreciation for them. To learn more, call 1-888-44-SALUTE.
I witnessed him have 2 heart attacks in ICU. He went through seizures.
We'd much rather have Aaron like this than dead. A lot of parents don't have that luxury.
He can't talk. He can't walk. This is a condition Aaron will live with for the rest of his life because he abused prescription pills.
Mind your meds. Learn more from the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
Now your ABC 7 First Alert Weather Forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
So yesterday we bottomed out in the lower 60s to mid 60s. This morning we are in the 50s, 58 degree the air temperature. Dew point still deliciously low at 54 degrees. That feels very comfortable. I think most people would agree that it would anyway. We have an east wind coming in at about 7. That east wind has been rather breezy over the last 48 hours. I think we'll start to see the east wind relax just a little bit today. Today's the day. Probably in the second half of the day, most particularly as it begins to shift as well, more to a southerly direction. Temperatures across the region: 58 Myakka, 59 Lakewood Ranch, Parrish, Bradenton at 58, so Sarasota, 61 in Venice and Inglewood, 62 Longboat Key, 54 degrees though in Punta Gorda, chilly there, 58 degrees in Arcadia and 59 degrees in Northport. Now this represents a departure from yesterday at this time of almost 5 to 10 degrees across the region. 9 degrees below where we were 24 hours ago in Punta Gorda, Inglewood at 6 degrees below, and Sarasota at 7 degrees below. So certainly a chillier start to the day. We make all that back though as we progress through the afternoon and we start to develop that southerly wind wind. We heat the skies with plenty of sunshine. We'll be back up into the 80s once again this afternoon by about 3 p.m. It'll be a sunny and dry day today with a 12 p.m. temperature of 75 and a 7 p.m. temperature coming in at about 75 as well. So a very comfortable, I think, afternoon and evening as well. Taking it hour by hour on the Futurecast, you'll see the easterly wind flow that we have and have had will be starting to twist a little bit to the south by the time we get into the afternoon. That southerly component, that's kind of important because what that means is that we'll see moisture start to return to the forecast, and that humidity and extra little bit of moisture in the air will keep our nighttime temperatures just a little bit warmer. It'll also set the stage for the potential of a few showers as we head into Friday, into Saturday, and a very weak front starts to work its way into the area. With that weak front working its way down the coastline, we'll probably notice our skies get a little cloudier. You'll probably notice the winds pick up just a little bit on Friday, and then that slight chance of a shower. South wind today coming in at about 5 to 10 this afternoon, decreasing even more as we head into the nighttime and looking at about a 5-knot wind. That's about it. We're still up at a moderate chop this morning, and that will probably be the case through the mid-afternoon. Then we'll start to see that chop begin to decrease. Seas, of course, take a little bit longer than the winds to slacken. 2 to 3 foot seas. The tidal information, you have a 12:29 high tide. Low tide comes at 5:56. And another high tide at 11:19 this evening. 3 tides for the day. We have another one coming in at about, just about now, actually. We have 82 for a daytime high today. Lots of sunshine, twisting winds to the south, increase in humidity tonight, keeping our nighttime temperature warmer than it is this morning. And then tomorrow, about the same, I think, maybe a little bit more humidity around. Friday, we start to increase the cloud cover. We start to build in that chance of rain showers late in the day, probably during the night. That chance of rain will linger into Saturday. And then I think for Easter Sunday, we'll watch those clouds kind of melt away and the rain chance go away. We'll be left with a pretty nice day on Sunday. Monday and Tuesday also look just fine. Back to you.
All right, thanks, John. Let's take a look outside. Your first alert traffic out there this morning. There is one construction note to make you aware of. Right there on the corner of 75 and State Road 64, there's a chunk of that area that is closed. The northbound exit ramp to State Road 64 is closed this morning, having to do with some construction. If you're heading into Sarasota County, those roads are running pretty clear out there this morning. There's one slowdown out there on Fruitville Road, almost between 301 and 75. A little slowdown as well on Bee Ridge Road. Heading a little bit farther south in the county, those roads are looking pretty decent out there this morning. Not too much congestion at this early hour. And a little farther south, again, pretty good out there. 517, that is your first alert traffic. Well, it was a controversial shooting in Baton Rouge that made headlines across the country back in 2016.
And now prosecutors say they will not file charges against the 2 officers involved in that fatal shooting. Reporter Carmen Farish tells us why.
The woman who raised Alton Sterling, his aunt, says she did not get justice today, but she will.
I'm gonna get justice, but from a higher power.
In July of 2016, 2 officers were called to a Baton Rouge convenience store after a report that Sterling had threatened another man with a gun. They struggled to get Sterling in handcuffs, including tasing him. In a cell phone video, one officer is heard yelling that Sterling had a weapon. He then fired shots. A loaded gun was later pulled from Sterling's pocket. The shooting led to weeks of intense protests in Baton Rouge and is tied to the deadly ambush on police officers in Dallas and Baton Rouge. Quinetta McMillan is the mother of Sterling's oldest son.
They took a human away. They took a father away. The way they killed him was in cold blood. You know it, I know it. But yes, the system has failed us.
Their comments came within minutes of Louisiana's Attorney General saying his office would not file criminal charges against either officer.
Our investigation has concluded that Officers Lake and Salamone attempted to make a lawful arrest of Alton Sterling based upon probable cause.
Police promised to release body cam footage of the incident within the next week. An attorney for the Sterling family says he's been briefed on what those videos show.
We asked them, is it accurate that Officer Salamone walked up and put a gun to Alton's head and said, I'll shoot you in the head? That is accurate. That is what happened. There is no justification for it.
Autopsy results were also released today, showing Sterling had multiple illegal drugs in his system, including cocaine. Carmen Farish, WAFB 9 News.
Baton Rouge police say they'll announce within the next week if the officers involved will face any discipline, including possible termination. They've been on paid leave since the shooting nearly 2 years ago.
Still to come on Good Morning Suncoast. Apple users, listen up. Are you looking for an inexpensive iPad? Yes, we are. We're going to tell you about this brand new product that Apple is getting ready to unveil for students.
And breaking overnight in Sacramento following an officer-involved shooting. Stay with us. Those stories and more when we come back. First, a look at Atlanta. The temperature there right now is 49 degrees at Centennial Park there in the Peach State. You're watching Good Morning Suncoast on ABC 7.
That is a pretty good breakfast. You're not even eating.
Not hungry.
No? Why not? What's up?
Kath and I knew that Jenny had been partying a bit. Found out she tried heroin.
Most people don't know what to say about drugs, but we do. Visit us at drugfree.org.
Thanks to all of you who participated in ABC7's Caribbean Cruise Giveaway Contest. Join us as we celebrate our grand prize winner, Joyce Fakowski of Northport. Married for 13 years in June, Joy and her husband, Don, are excited to celebrate their anniversary on a spectacular 7-night luxury Caribbean cruise for two. Congratulations, Joy and Don. Bon voyage. ABC7, we're here for you.
A promise was made, a promise that hit the beaches of Normandy, a vow that captured Iwo Jima, a contract that weathered Tet, a pledge that stormed the desert in Iraq, an IOU that braved IEDs in Kandahar. A promise was made to America's veterans. DAV fights to keep that promise, so all veterans and their families get the benefits and support they earned. For help, visit DAV.org.
I love taking care of my mom. It wasn't easy at first. She learned how to better communicate her needs.
And you learned how to not ignore yours.
I discovered how to make healthier meals.
And I discovered how much I enjoyed them.
Becoming a caregiver is a learning experience for everyone. Find articles, tips, and tools from experts and others who have been in your place. The Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
It's 5:22. A peek outside our window shows a nice clear morning right now, about 59 degrees. Should see plenty of sun today and a high of 81 as you go about the day here in the Suncoast. 5:22, and tensions are reaching a boiling point right now in Sacramento after the police shooting of an unarmed black man.
A protest erupted at a meeting of city leaders last night, and then outside, protesters once again blocked access to the city's basketball arena. ABC's Kenneth Moten has the latest.
Stephon Clark! Stephon Clark! Chaos at the city council meeting in Sacramento. Stephon Clark! Stephon Clark! Stevante Clark interrupted a meeting called to discuss the police shooting that killed his brother Stephon. The man confronted the mayor, took over the podium, then faced the audience.
The gangbanging has to stop. Gotta go. The poverty is uncontrollable. I need you to hear me, okay?
ABC's Kana Whitworth was there.
He jumped up right onto the podium and took the mayor's microphone. He was eventually escorted out, but you can see there are also people here gathered. They all want justice for Stephon Clark.
Stephon Clark! Stephon Clark! Protesters then marched to the Golden One Center before the Sacramento Kings basketball game for the second time in a week, preventing fans from entering the arena. Show me your hands, good. The protests first broke out after police released this body cam video showing officers shooting Clark 20 times in his grandmother's backyard. Police say the officers thought Clark was armed after getting reports that somebody was breaking car windows, but it turned out he only had a cell phone. Police say they plan to release more video from the shooting, and now California's Attorney General will oversee an independent investigation.
My team and I at the California Department of Justice will do everything in our power to ensure that this investigation is fair, thorough, and impartial.
The two officers involved in the shooting are on administrative leave. Clark's funeral is set for tomorrow. Kenneth Moten, ABC News, New York.
Today in Health Smart, some customers whose prescription meds are covered by Aetna could get a break at the drugstore starting next year.
Starting the first of the year, Aetna says it will pass along the rebates it receives from drug manufacturers. The move will affect about 3 million customers who are enrolled in a certain type of job-based insurance coverage. The actions come amid President Trump's pledge to lower the cost of prescription drugs.
Well, these days it is important that your child has access to the best technology, and in response to that, Apple has unveiled a less expensive iPad for students.
ABC's Kenneth Moten and Diane Macedo have Tech Bites.
In today's Tech Bites, Apple's new iPad.
The tablet is focused on education and designed to work with Apple's Pencil stylus. Students can also use its education-related apps. Apple is offering the device to schools for $299. Everyone else will pay $30 more. Lincoln has unveiled its new high-tech SUV. The 2019 Aviator has a suspension system that reads the road to compensate for potholes.
Drivers can also turn on the ignition with their smartphones. It comes with its own Wi-Fi, and there's also a plug-in hybrid version.
A new app is relying on science as the key to finding true love.
The matchmaking app called Pheromore uses DNA to determine compatibility. They say it's based on 40 years of research that shows genes play a big role in attraction. Pheromones.
Are you attracted to my scent?
Those are your Tech Bites.
Have a great day.
Tech Bites, brought to you by Coco Mademoiselle Chanel.
The new Eau de Parfum Intense. Coco Mademoiselle Chanel.
Enamel is the strong, white outer layer of your tooth surface. The thing that's really important to dentists is to make sure that that enamel stays strong and resilient for a lifetime. The more that we can strengthen and reharden that tooth surface, the whiter their patient's teeth are going to be. Dentists are going to really want to recommend Pronamel Strong and Bright. It helps to strengthen and reharden the enamel. It also has stain lifting action. It's going to give their patients the protection that they need and the whiter teeth that they want.
I'm calling in regards about my mother, and I'm here, and I just want to thank you because it saved my mother's life yesterday. And I'd like to know the names of the people that came in and saved her so I could call and thank them. And she's doing fine. It's a wonderful thing. Thank you.
When you fall and cannot get up, an accident can turn into a tragedy. But with Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast. Life Alert saves a person from a catastrophe every 10 minutes.
Life Alert is a lifesaver. If it weren't for Life Alert, I wouldn't be sitting here today.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-652-3012. That's 1-800-652-3012. Call now 1-800-652-3012. For a free brochure, call 1-800-652-3012.
Hi, I'm Janelle Hale, founder and CEO of the National Breast Cancer Foundation. No one should face breast cancer alone. When I was diagnosed 36 years ago, there was no internet, and I had to make a decision with little information. Early detection saved my life. It could save yours too. To learn what every woman needs to know about breast cancer, visit nbcf.org/hope.
We're losing exotic animals on a daily basis, and the ones that we have in captivity are really the ambassadors for their wild counterparts. I'm Clayton Rozier from the Big Cat Habitat and Gulf Coast Sanctuary, housing over 150 exotic animals that needed a great home. And if you love animals, please help them. Do it locally. Support your local no-kill shelters, your local wild animal sanctuaries. Make a difference where you can.
Stay connected to your clients and new customers using ABC7 Digital Media Services. Our team of professionals provide a wide array of digital services to help you get the most out of your website. We specialize in building and helping you maintain the most effective digital solutions for your business. It's vital that your online presence stands out, so our experts will equip you with the best resources available. Trust ABC7 Digital Media Services to give you the right tools to grow your business.
This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
Yeah, I have questions.
Prescription drugs aren't as bad as street drugs, right?
Weed's legal, isn't it?
Drinking is worse than smoking weed.
Isn't it? Why
is heroin so addictive?
Molly just makes you feel happy.
I have questions.
Mom?
Dad, did you ever try drugs?
They're going to ask. Be ready. Go to drugfree.org. A message from Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
ABC7 is the most watched, most trusted news source on the Suncoast, and we owe it all to you, our loyal viewers. Thank you for making us #1.
Coming up this morning on Good Morning Suncoast, a burning ban this morning. We're going to tell you where and just why that fire danger is so high right now.
I'm live at the American Red Cross in Sarasota, where they're asking for the community to bring donations to this facility, and that money will be going towards families who face disasters. I have a live report straight ahead.
And caught on camera, a Utah trooper is speaking out this morning after he was hit by a runaway vehicle. Those stories, the spring break forecast right now on Good Morning Suncoast.
You're watching Good Morning Suncoast at 5:30.
Good morning and welcome back. Thanks for waking up with us this morning. I'm Stephanie Webb.
I'm Ray Collins. Midway through the week, up to 59 degrees this Wednesday. John's got the details of today's forecast. John?
Yeah, going to get even a little cooler, I think, as we head toward dawn this morning. Coldest day of the week, I suspect, this morning, and then we'll start to warm things up a little bit as we shift our winds around just a tad. Right now, take a look at the Cortez Bridge webcam. It looks good. Don't see anything in the way of any kind of fog building across the region. The air too dry for that, plus the winds have been too high. So morning commute should be pretty good in terms of any weather problems. I don't see any weather problems whatsoever, actually. We have a big ridge of high pressure still remaining the dominant feature over Florida, bringing sunshine today and fair weather, mild afternoon temperatures. Despite the fact that we're a little cooler this morning, I think we'll probably be about the same in terms of our afternoon temperature. Quiet on radar, not a drop of rain forecast for you today, and temperatures, as I mentioned, a little cooler. 58 Sarasota, 60 in Venice, 58 Lakewood Ranch, Parrish, Bradenton, Longboat Key coming in at 62. As we head through the day, the winds will start to shift just a little bit, coming in out of the south. That'll increase our humidity and keep our nighttime temperatures warmer. Plus, it'll drive our daytime high back up into the 80s today. So it should be a very pleasant afternoon. We'll talk about the forecast in just a few.
All right, John, talk to you soon. Issues there on Manatee County in the top right corner of your screen. The northbound exit ramp to 64 is closed right now due to that ongoing state construction project. Also, you'll see there on 64 westbound traffic as you head toward the Braden River. Some slowdowns there already this morning. Let's check farther south now in the northern half of Sarasota County. Some early issues there on Fruitville in the eastbound lanes from about Beneva toward McIntosh. Also Bee Ridge westbound around Honore. And then our final maps to the south will show us a little small delay there on 41 northbound as you head out of Northport toward Warm Mineral Springs. Now here's a live look at Casey Key. We've got a traffic issue there. Due to beach erosion, there's a large arrow. Now there's also 2 miles ahead an issue there between the street addresses of 2110 and 2120. The road is closed, which causes a problem. You can't get through there. Erosion on the shoreline is the issue, so traffic is blocked until about Friday while they stabilize the road. Some serious work being done this morning right now on Casey Key.
A Sarasota woman is in jail this morning accused of trying to sell counterfeit drugs. According to the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office, deputies stopped Ashley Baird while driving on the wrong side of the road in Nokomis on Saturday. When they searched her car, deputies say they found pills, marijuana, and then some bags filled with unknown substances. She then told deputies that they were actually substances made to look like meth, heroin, and fentanyl, and she was actually planning to sell them as fake drugs. Baird now faces several possession charges.
A follow-up now on a Broward County man who was arrested after deputies say he stole from the Parkland School Memorial site. Deputies say William Kennedy told them that he took the anti-gun signs and he supports the right to carry. Deputies say they saw Kennedy and Kara O'Neill taking items at the high school memorial and putting them in their car on Sunday night. Those items included teddy bears, a trophy, pinwheels, framed poems, American flags. During a court appearance this week, a judge ordered the couple to stay away from that school.
Well, it's been a little more than a month since that deadly Parkland shooting, and now the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office is looking for a few good men or women who want to help area schools be a little safer. 14 candidates will be chosen to provide campus security to 12 elementary schools in Sarasota County. The new school resource deputy 2 position will be responsible for ensuring safety and security of students and staff in those schools. That position will only work 10 months out of the school year with a salary of about $43,000 a year.
And total cost about $1.1 million, by the way.
All right, there you go.
A year.
Well, they help millions of people every year, usually after a disaster or an emergency. But today, they need your help.
Today is Red Cross Giving Day. Our Marla Spence is live from the Red Cross headquarters in Sarasota County. Marla?
Good morning, guys. Today, for 24 hours, the American Red Cross here in Sarasota and ones across the country, they're asking for donations that'll end up going to families facing disasters. We spoke to a donation specialist, and she tells us that many times when there's a disaster like a fire, the Red Cross is called immediately alongside the fire department to assist families during a disaster.
This past winter, though, with the colder weather, there was an uptick in the number of fires that we responded to. But there's also flooding. We respond to the flooding. We respond to some of the wildfires in the state. And then we respond to really any time that people need help.
Assistance is oftentimes a hotel, food, or also clothing, and the American Red Cross locally and nationally, they can give from $600 to $1,000 per family, depending on the size of the family and the extent of the disaster. Now, if you are willing and you are wanting to help out, you can go to AmericanRedCross.org, and that's where you can find the Southwest chapter, and that's where you can submit your donation. Reporting live in Sarasota, I'm Marla Spence for ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
Thank you, Marla. After a man's body was left on the side of the road for hours, Manatee County officials are making some big policy changes. County commissioners met with Sheriff Rick Wells yesterday to discuss what should be done with remains of someone who has died of natural causes in a public place. So here's what they decided. From now on, EMS units will transfer the body into the ambulance and wait for instruction from the sheriff's deputy on scene. Now, if the patient's identity is unknown or the funeral home is unable to respond quickly, the EMS crew will transport the body to the medical examiner's office. Manatee County also says every effort will be made to minimize the time an ambulance is unavailable in the case of an emergency.
Brush fires once again causing issues on the Suncoast this year. There's currently 2 open fires in South Sarasota County. Last weekend, the Myakka River District responded to 5 wildfires in a 5-county area, 180 acres total. Dry conditions have put parts of Sarasota and Manatee counties at moderate or high risk over the past week. Florida Forest Service officials expect the rest of the season to be just as busy as last year.
But if you walk into any wooded area, you'll still see a lot of downed trees and debris that's on the ground that's not been picked up because it's in the woods. And so that just makes it a little bit more difficult for us to get in there, but it also provides more fuel on the ground for the fire to take hold of and burn.
And officials don't expect to see any amount of significant rain until the end of May or early June. Right now, an emergency burn ban is in place in Charlotte County. The ban includes yard waste, recreational fires, fireworks, sparklers. County officials say it does not include outdoor cooking grills or burn permits issued by the Forest Service. The ban stays in effect until the threat of wildfires no longer exists. For details on these burns and also breaking news and traffic, check out a new app under My Suncoast or under WWSB.
A missing Fort Bragg soldier who disappeared over the weekend is now considered AWOL. Sergeant Carl Seaman was at Fort Bragg for training with his unit. He was scheduled to be deployed Monday to Louisiana, but his car was found Monday night in the parking lot of a Fayetteville store in Arkansas. Police are now involved and investigating.
No, at this point, there's nothing that looks like foul play was involved. The investigators are looking at all angles of it, as they always do, and they are working hard to reunite him with his family and determine what exactly took place.
Now, authorities say that they are tracking calls made from his cell phone. They also plan to review the security camera video from the area where his car was found.
DNA evidence just helped Wisconsin police solve 3 cold cases. Investigators had DNA samples from 2 sexual assault cases from 2011 and 2014, but the crime database only returned a match for one of those samples. The DNA profile was from Chicago and did not have a name associated with it. The cases were considered cold until last year. That's when investigators in another part of Wisconsin entered a DNA profile for a sexual assault. It matched with all 3 cases in Green Bay.
Technology advances. Sometimes it takes a while for a criminal to actually get caught on something different and his name put into the database. And that's what happened in this case. Unfortunately, it took 10+ years.
Green Bay police are now looking for a 56-year-old suspect whose name they do now know. 540 still ahead, first alert traffic, and caught on camera a trooper recovering this morning after dash cam footage shows him getting hit by a runaway vehicle.
Plus, what happens to a mother's car when she forgets to put it in park and there happens to be a swimming pool nearby. We're going to let you put this picture together. All right, and right now, a live look at that New York City skyline. Looks beautiful, a little chillier than it is out there this morning. What's our weather look like there today, John Scalzi?
New York, probably upper 30s, low 40s, raining, that kind of thing. Lovely. We're looking at some pretty nice conditions around here as you head out the door. We'll have some pretty decent weather, I think, as you head to the beaches this afternoon, maybe to watch the races at the Sailing Squadron, or maybe to enjoy some of our beautiful sand. Well, that'd be in the 80s out there. UV index will be high, so watch for that. Drought index, by the way, just to update you on that, still remains across our region abnormally dry in some locations. And I don't see that changing today. Hopefully we'll get some weekend rains, though. We'll talk about that coming up in a few.
When it comes to drinking, what do you think moderation is? The U.S. Dietary Guidelines define moderation as up to 1 drink a day for women and up to 2 drinks a day for men. So what's a drink? The guidelines say a drink equals 12 ounces of beer, 5 ounces of wine, or a cocktail with 1.5 ounces of distilled spirits. Each contains the same amount of alcohol. Like to learn more? Visit drinkinmoderation.org.
We've all heard how military veterans adjusting to the civilian world may have certain issues.
30. 70.
If only everyone had this issue. No matter what challenge they face, Easter Seals is here for America's veterans.
I am the resident district manager on the FAU campus for Chartwell. Whenever I see Haley, I do not see a person with a disability. I see a person with extraordinary abilities. Haley is always smiling. She's always on time. She gives fantastic customer service and is always focused on any job that she's given.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
There was this big bruise on my friend's face. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to think her own nephew could have hit her.
I didn't want to see it. My mother's bank account was emptied, and a caregiver had taken control of it.
I didn't want to see it. My father's refrigerator. There was hardly anything in it. That's unusual for him.
It's tough to see that a senior citizen is being abused, physically, emotionally, sexually, or financially. Elder abuse is a crime.
So see the signs. Stop the crimes.
Everything all right?
Actually, you know how Tom had knee surgery?
Sure.
We found out Brad's been taking his painkillers. And it turns out he's been doing it for a while.
Most people don't know what to say about drugs,
but we do. Visit us at drugfree.org.
Ever since I can remember, I've been intrigued by industrial design and the optimization.
Wait, that's passion? Ever since I can remember, my passion has been industrial design. We need 3D printers for Miss Adams' engineering program so that we are ready to solve 21st century challenges.
Impressive. Think It Up is a new initiative to support student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classroom today? Think It Up.
Now your ABC 7 First Alert Weather Forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
Cool and crisp outside this morning, 58 degrees. The air temperature, dew point coming in at 54. Feels very pleasant outside. We have an east wind blowing at about 7. I think we'll start to see that east wind switch a little bit more to the southeast later on this afternoon and probably lighten up just a little bit. It'll be a bit breezy for the first half of the day, and then the second half of the day, those wind speeds will markedly die down. We're looking at temperatures across the region that are generally hugging the upper 50s to lower 60s most everywhere. 59 Wauchula, Arcadia, Myakka, Parrish, Bradenton, Lakewood Ranch. A little cooler in Sarasota at 58, but 60s along the coastline with 62 at Longboat Key, 61 Venice and Inglewood. This represents about a 5, 7, 8 degree difference in temperatures between this hour and what it was yesterday at this hour. So we're certainly a lot cooler this morning than we were 24 hours ago. But as we progress through the morning and dawn breaks and the winds start to shift more to the south and we heat things up with lots of sunshine today, we'll be back about to where we were yesterday for a daytime high coming in the lower 80s. But one thing I think you will notice today compared to yesterday is, especially if you're an observant weather watcher, you'll notice, I think, the humidity just a little bit higher today. Markedly so, I think, tomorrow, but today it'll be just a little bit higher as we head into 3, 4, 5 o'clock this afternoon. By the time we get to 7, it'll be about 75 degrees. Plenty of sunshine around as we head into the afternoon with only a few fair weather clouds. Certainly no rainfall. East wind will start to shift a little bit more to the southeast as we progress through time this afternoon. And that's what's going to bring the humidity back. Now, one thing the humidity will do will be to keep our nighttime temperatures a little bit warmer. The molecules of water are really good at holding on to heat. So that's why steam hurts a lot more than just hot air, because you know, that heat is really retained in those molecules. And so as we get into the nighttime hours and the heating of the day goes away, it kind of acts like a little warm-up mechanism in the atmosphere to keep our nighttime temperatures a little bit warmer. So tomorrow, we'll probably be in the mid-60s or low 60s for a nighttime low. Then as we head into the evening hours, we'll see our temperatures fall into the 70s. And by tomorrow morning, when you wake up, I think we'll see temperatures that'll be hovering right around the 62, 63 mark. And then tomorrow afternoon, right back into the 80s once again. So radar not showing a drop of rain, nor will it as we head into the afternoon. That's not the case back to the west. Large areas of big thunderstorms again rumble across this very slow-moving frontal boundary, and there's the potential for more flooding rain in parts of the Ohio Valley stretching back into the front range of the Rockies. The frontal boundary itself will take its good sweet time, but eventually the tail end of it will be approaching us by Friday, but in a much weakened form. It won't have any of the energy that it currently does. High pressure in response moves to the southeast, and our winds twist to the southeast as well. That will bring us eventually a pretty muggy day, I think, on Friday. You'll notice that, and set the stage for a few scattered showers. So winds slacken and twist south today. Will be dry, though, until Friday when that next front approaches, and it will be warm with slowly increasing humidity as those winds twist. Forecast for boating today looks pretty good, I guess. We'll start off the day with a south wind that'll be a little breezier, but by afternoon I think it'll be reduced to about 5 to 10, and then tonight even further than that, southeast to about 5. Still, you'll have a moderate chop until those seas subside just a little bit. We'll look for 2 to 3 foot wave action out there. Forecast looks like this. We'll have today 82 for a daytime high, tomorrow around 81, and then 79 degrees on Friday with about a 20% chance of showers. As we head into Saturday, that frontal boundary kind of lingers and washes away, bringing a chance of showers early Saturday, But then that clears out for Sunday, and we're left with a very nice Easter and a daytime high of around 81. Forecast on Monday and Tuesday, call for daytime highs in the lower 80s as well. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Tom. Let's take a look outside to your first alert traffic out there this morning. We do have one construction note to tell you about. I-75 northbound. The exit ramp to State Road 64 is closed this morning. So if that is something that you normally take on your morning commute, you're going to want to switch routes right there. Other than that, not too much to see in Manatee County. If you're heading into South Sarasota or to North Sarasota County, those roads are looking pretty decent. A couple slow spots we're starting to already see on Fruitville and Bee Ridge Road. If you're heading into South Sarasota, those roads are looking pretty decent out there this morning. Nothing real big to talk about, just a couple slowdowns here and there, but not too much to see for your spring break week traffic as of 5:50 this morning. All right, and check this out. This is a Utah trooper, and he is all caught on camera. He was responding to sliding vehicles on an icy highway. He was hit by a runaway car. Sergeant Cade Brunchley was walking toward the stranded white car, as you can see right here. Then a sliding black car comes out, hits him from behind, launches him into the air. He ended up breaking his shoulder and a few ribs, and he is now recovering.
Wow. I woke up and I saw snow, and I was laying there and knocked the wind out of me. I was gasping for breath. I was right up against a car, and I remember thinking to myself, I've been hit.
Whoa, several people actually went over to help him after he was hit. This makes him, get this, the 11th trooper hit on Utah roads just this year.
It's tossed like a rag doll there.
Yeah, that is a scary video right there.
Look at this one. A mother in the Panhandle really embraces the idea of carpooling. I didn't write that. She apparently forgot to put her car in park, and there's the result. It rolled into an apartment complex pool. Her husband and daughter were still inside. The Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office says the woman ran back inside to grab money. They were able to get her and her husband and daughter
out. Seems like
out.
A good thing to go back and get.
How about a life preserver?
Right, right. Here's one of those little stretchy, like those bands that you throw in for kids, or like some water wings.
Yeah.
While you're at it.
Yeah. I got some money here. Let's take a live look right now in Washington, D.C. Here's the White House at 5:51, and as you, hey.
No one is in the kitchen on that second floor this morning.
Usually the top right light is illuminated.
You know what? Melania and family are actually in Mar-a-Lago for spring break this week. That's why it's quiet.
Right now it's 43 degrees in Washington and 58 degrees on the Suncoast, and you're watching Good Morning Suncoast on ABC 7.
My name is Julius. I have cerebral palsy. I work for Farmer Jeffy Weising Law Firm. I do a lot of data entry and scanning documents. I want to increase my working experience to make the company much better. At the end of the day, it's good to think of the day's work and to think about what I have accomplished.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to abilitieswork.employflorida.com.
I took my first handful of pills, and that's when all my priorities seemed to change.
He would ask to use the bathroom in other people's homes.
He just assumed that they would have medication.
He'd go in their medicine cabinets and steal prescription drugs.
I wish I knew really what these prescription pills were.
We were so naive about the whole drug thing.
These are all synthetic forms of heroin.
Keep your medication locked up because you'll never notice that a pill is gone.
Mind your meds. Learn more from the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
Here we go. We're gonna go out there in the rain. You're gonna get wet. All right, here we go. Go, okay, quick. Oh yeah, yes. So much fun. Mwah. So wet.
Want the latest weather and traffic conditions wherever you go? Introducing ABC 7's revolutionary new First Alert weather app. With our state-of-the-art new weather app, you get up-to-the-minute weather alerts, interactive radar maps, current conditions, 10-day forecasts, real-time traffic maps, and weather video from ABC 7, all at your fingertips. And it's free. Just search Suncoast WX in the App Store and download onto all your devices today. Sponsored by Mr. Sparky.
The skills you develop as a soldier in the Army National Guard can give you a head start on your career. Gain practical experience with technology and equipment that will give you a leg up in the civilian world. Learn critical leadership skills and to be part of a team. Serve your community and your country part-time while earning money for an education. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn about the paid training and career opportunities available to you in the Army National Guard.
Tonight on ABC 7 News at 7.
Absolutely. I'm glad the city is trying to chase down the opioid manufacturers because that's the root of the problem, and I think that's where we have to start in order to combat this crisis.
Opioid makers and sellers are being sued by the city of Sarasota. Will other cities follow suit? I'm Alan Cohn. We'll have that story. Meet me at the trapezoid.
Tonight on ABC 7 News at 7. Your Suncoast News. We're here for you. Here's today's job of the day. ABC 7 is seeking a news editor with a nonlinear editing background and experience with breaking news and live shots. Visit mysuncoast.com/job of the day to apply.
Here's some of the top stories that we're following for you on the Suncoast this morning.
Sarasota County's sheriff wants to hire 14 deputies to patrol a dozen elementary schools. Total cost would be just over $1 million.
Plus, a federal judge ordered Florida's governor to create a new system to restore voting rights to convicted felons. Now, our state is one of only 4 that permanently bars a felon from voting. The governor has until April 26th to come up with a voting restoration process.
And part of Casey Key Road will be closed until Friday. Work crews try to build up the nearby shoreline that has been washed out during high tide.
And coming up in the next hour, a former New Orleans Saints cheerleader that now lives in Sarasota has filed a complaint with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission against the team. We'll tell you what kind of sex discrimination case she feels she has.
Yeah, this has caused quite a nationwide buzz.
It is, and not just for NFL teams and cheerleaders and everything else, but in the workplace in general. It's an interesting story.
So she lives in Sarasota. She cheered for the Saints.
Played, yes.
We'll
yes.
have more next hour on that. And also John Scalzi's forecast, which you might like next hour on Good Morning Suncoast.